There was a lot of Facebook chatter about a week ago saying that she was considering possibly standing in some kind of political role. I think there'd be huge support for her, but I can't see her doing it just yet.
Definitely support from the lady behind her. You've
Yes.
seen floods of tears during
Seemed
that.
very impassioned.
Bottom lip going. 2 weeks left in the White House, so maybe time to make another speech in the meantime. It's 13 minutes past 7.
Patients sent home without clothes, others suffering falls and not being found for days. Still more not washed because there is no carer there to help them.
Yeah, that is the damning indictment on the NHS this morning from the British Red Cross, which has called the resulting strain on hospitals in England, strong words, they're calling it a humanitarian crisis. So, are those words too strong? How bad is the situation? Let's speak now to Dr. Mark.
Very strong words, as you say, but there are obviously some hospitals which are getting it right, which are managing to link up with social services, which are getting people out of hospitals and into good care. So why is that not being practiced everywhere? What about the role of families in all of this to support people leaving hospital?
So people will be thinking, you know, yes, we get these pinch points in the winter because, you know, the weather's bad, people fall and slip in snow and ice and you get flu outbreaks and that kind of thing. But we've not had a particularly cold winter and there haven't been any major flu epidemics. No. So why this year? Why a humanitarian crisis? Much indeed for now. Thanks. We're talking there about we've had a few cold snaps, but we've also had a lot of foggy weather, haven't we? It's been quite murky out there, and if you just look very, very carefully, you can just about make out Helen against...
Emily, appreciate your time, and we'll be talking more about this in the next hour. We'll be speaking to a barrister who specialises in sexual assault cases.
You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. It's 22 minutes past 7. Let's take a look at the newspapers.
And Ibrahim Mogher is here to tell us what it is.
Yeah, the Sunday Telegraph social lead.
Right, Ibrahim, inside the papers then this morning, you're going to start off with a story about public service staff under pressure. In particular, I think you're looking at ambulance staff.
Yes, indeed.
It's an over-reliance on the computer to decide when actually they should just be sending the ambulance in the first place, but clearly there's a need to identify.
We will talk about this a little bit later on. I'll just very quickly show you 8-year-olds to get lessons in happiness. It's a little tease for something that we might perhaps get into a bit later on.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank
nice
you
to
very
see
much.
you. Thanks very much. The Andrew Marr programme, headlines in the last few weeks, and now the creator of the World Wide Web, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, has waded into debate. In an open letter.
And it was the Scottish rugby team who were kind of flailing around in the water yesterday.
Key man went off early as well, but you've got to say, Jonathan Joseph in England, they really cut loose, winning by 61 points to 21, retaining the Six Nations title
Jonathan
as
Joseph,
well.
who won man of the match almost by half-time.
Yeah, he went off early, didn't he?
But
yeah, he was absolutely superb. They also equalled New Zealand's record of 18 straight defeat for Andy there.
Good stuff. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. We're going to be here on the BBC News channel until 9 this morning, so coming up in the next half hour for you.
We've got the goodbye to viewers on BBC One.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.
Some people may or may not want to do that or agree with that. They might have a sneaking suspicion that the reason the cruise liners, the companies are doing that is because they're keeping the wages low. So they're now using it as a way of, you know, you will get a bit more money, but your wages are going to stay the same. But bear in mind, we've got this deal with the passengers. If I've got anything I can pass over to you. I haven't got anything with me, I'm sorry. Otherwise
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed. There you are. Okay, can you split it
That's
between
surely
you?
the wrong way around. If you've got thoughts, I'm sure people will have thoughts on tipping more generally, but also in that way that's done, where it's done in advance. You have to agree to it in advance. Tell us your thoughts this morning.
And who do you tip? That's the other thing. Your hairdresser, the taxi driver, the restaurant. Do you tip the man who delivers the online groceries?
Yeah, the guest who comes into the studio.
Definitely him.
7:45 the time now. Let's have a look at the weekend's weather. Darren's there for us today.
I'm going to have to get out in the garden this weekend. It looks lovely.
Perfect.
Looking forward to it.
What will you do? Mow?
Dig. Get rid of weeds. That's the big job waiting for me.
7:47 the time now. We'll be back with the headlines at 8 o'clock. Now it's time for Newswatch with Samira Ahmed.
Good morning. It is Saturday, the 18th of February.
Also ahead.
Our main story then, Theresa May is launching a new law to combat domestic violence and offer more support to victims. The Prime Minister says domestic abuse is a life-shattering, abhorrent crime and tackling it is a key priority for the government.
Official figures.
And Adam Fleming is in Westminster for us this morning. Adam, Theresa May was obviously Home Secretary for a number of years. Is this perhaps some kind of admission that not enough work was done during that time to tackle this? And we will talk to one of those charities that supports victims of domestic abuse later in the programme.
California is being hit by what could be one of its biggest storms in decades, the so-called weather. Yes, that was Captain Scott from the US Fire Department, just to bring us up to date with the situation in California.
President Donald Trump is preparing to address a rally of supporters in Florida at the end of an eventful week for the new US government. Yesterday, Mr. Trump sought to focus on his promise to boost manufacturing jobs, but later resumed his criticism of the media, branding the industry as an enemy of the American people. Catherine Stancheshen reports.
The Anglo-Dutch company Unilever, which makes brands including Marmite and PG Tips, has rejected a £115 billion takeover bid from the American food giant Kraft Heinz.
Unilever said there was no basis for further negotiations, but Kraft has said it will continue to work on a potential deal, which would make it the second biggest takeover in corporate history. Here's more from our business correspondent Joe Lynham. Police in Malaysia say they've arrested a North Korean man in connection with the death of Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. He died.
Iraqi forces are preparing to launch an offensive to drive Islamic State militants out of West Mosul.
It is the last major urban area in the country that is still under the group's control. From Mosul's southern front, our Middle East correspondent Quentin Somerville reports. Scunthorpe is a town probably known best for its steel, but from today it is all about gold. Love it. It's 14 minutes past 8. Good morning. Now, pressure is growing on the government to reassess their proposals to update business rates after 3 former trade secretaries criticised the plans.
The new rates come into force in England on April the 1st. Scotland and Wales will also see changes to their business rates on the same day.
Well, Craig Beaumont is from the Federation of Small Businesses, one of the business groups that signed this letter condemning the changes. Hi, Craig.
Hi.
Business is up in arms around the country, but we should point out, first of all, that some people have done pretty well out of these changes, haven't they?
If there is a disagreement over that valuation and that leads to the appeal, the process you say is too convoluted, not working, what's the alternative?
There are millions of these appeals going through at the moment. There's a huge backlog. It's taking months, if not years, to get these complaints resolved. So they had to take...
Seem to be business friendly, possibly not the corporate friendly, but certainly in terms of the smaller businesses you were talking about. Why do you think they're allowing this situation to emerge? As you're saying, you represent small businesses. This morning, thank you very much. Craig Beaumont is from the Federation of Small Businesses.
Well, we've seen lots of pictures this morning of the extreme weather that's causing chaos in parts of California. It's been given a name. The name is amazing. It's called a bombogenesis. But actually, it tells a fairly tricky story for people living in California at the moment. What is the situation there? What's happening? Yeah. Really nice day on Monday, aren't they?
Yeah, enjoy.
I fear we may get caught in the rain.
Probably. Darren, thanks very much. Let's see, time now is 8:23. The Prime Minister says victims of domestic violence are being let down by the legal system and is promising to increase convictions for what she describes as a life-shattering and abhorrent crime.
Theresa May has announced new laws as part of a Domestic Violence and Abuse Act, which it's hoped will raise awareness and lead to more prosecutions. Indeed, convictions is going up, which presumably you would applaud. But much of this, as you say, is still underreported. Why is that? These new laws may well look at is the offence of controlling and coercive behaviour, psychological abuse, women, but also a significant number of men as well. In terms of returning home to their partner, Theresa May says this is a subject close to her heart, but of course since 2010 this government's overseen the closure of huge numbers of refuges for women and vulnerable individuals. Is that something that she needs to go back and have a look at? Diana Barron from the charity Safe Lives, much appreciated, thanks.
Thank you.
Time now is 8:27. You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. Time now for a look at the papers. And Professor John Tongue is here from...
Morning.
Where are you going to kick us off?
Well, we're starting off. Debate over EU membership is not necessarily over. The 1975 referendum, pro-Remain leader, even though many Labour voters would support Brexit. And the Guardian's...
Narrative, doesn't it, that we politicians know best what's good for you and you didn't quite understand what was going on and that's why you voted for Brexit, which is what puts people off in the...
Of that. John, you're going to come back in an hour's time, talk to us some more.
Will do.
See you then.
Yep.
Right now, we're going to get the headlines in just a moment.
President Trump is preparing to address a rally of supporters in Florida at the end of an eventful week for the new US government. Yesterday,
Three former trade secretaries have criticised plans to reform business rates for the first time in 7 years. Speaking to the Telegraph,
makes brands including Marmite and PG Tips has strongly rejected a £115 billion takeover bid from the American food giant Kraft Heinz. Unilever.
Those are the main stories this morning, 8:35. Mike's here now. It's one of those.
Unprecedented in terms of the little guys, the first time ever. We've had two non-league sides in the FA Cup fifth round. Sutton United against Arsenal on Monday, and Lincoln City of National League up against Burnley today. No non-league side has ever gone further since QPR. I know now they're a championship club, but in 1914 they were a non-league side, and they actually got to the last 8. So there's that little bit of history up for grabs for either Sutton or maybe Lincoln. It's a tall order though, isn't it, this weekend?
Thanks, Mike. Cooperative bank customers have been told the company is up for sale again.
Yes, the bank has down. Talk to you later on 8:49 the time now. Scunthorpe is a place known for its steel, but from today it will get to experience a gold rush of sorts. Shiny and valuable objects are being hidden around the town today for the public to find and then keep.
Yeah, you could go along and take part. It's all part of an art project with clues hidden in paintings. The paintings go on display this morning. Our entertainment correspondent Colin Patterson went to find out more.
See, little things, aren't they? And valuable.
Yeah, that line from Colin, the world's poshest Monopoly set.
They
I
are
think
like
if
that.
I found them, I wouldn't be playing Monopoly with them.
No, if you want to join the treasure hunt, the 5 paintings featuring clues will be displayed at Scunthorpe's 20 to 21 Visual Arts Centre from today. That's until the 29th of April, so it's over a period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time to work out the clues. It's 8:52. Now, the Scottish singer-songwriter Amy Macdonald is no stranger to chart success. Aged just 29, she's already released 4 albums and sold millions of records worldwide.
But This Is the Life singer says despite all that, she doesn't consider herself a celebrity and loves the fact she's still able to walk down the street without being recognised. MC this morning to now is...
Totally chubby teenager.
Massive tours that you're doing.
It is crazy. It's like months on end having to go up on stage and belt it out every night. And with my new album as well, it's the exact same. I seem to have written an album full of...
Why the tiny... What's the thinking behind it? I mean, it looks fantastic. What's the thinking behind that?
It was just something a bit like in the Lord of the Rings or something, pretending that I was climbing up and down stairs. So it was good to do something that was different from everything that I've done before.
You're obviously a solo artist. You've always written all your own songs, but actually you say this album has been a bit more of a collaborative process.
Yeah, I don't think that'll make it onto the album, but...
Now you've said it, everyone's going to want to hear it.
Everyone wants to hear I'm eating my feelings, but
Yeah.
we just decided let's actually sit down and try and write something properly, and it was really difficult at first because it's strange putting your ideas out there, but as soon as we got into the swing of it, it just clicked, and I wrote a good few songs and was really pleased with the outcome.
Anyone who knows your work will know you do a very, very brilliant Bruce Springsteen cover in your own style, and you got to meet him as well. Was that one of those moments when you had to pinch yourself and think, do you know what, life is pretty good?
It was a crazy moment. I didn't expect to see things become my thing.
Lovely to see you this morning. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Amy.
Amy's album is called Under Stars.
Coming up then in the next half hour, choosing how much... Good morning. It is Saturday, the 18th of February.
Also ahead, a giant story.
And Darren has the weather for us.
Good morning. First, our main story. Theresa May is introducing a new law to combat domestic violence.
An eventful week for the new US government.
Yesterday, Mr. Trump sought to focus on his promise to boost manufacturing jobs, but later resumed his criticism of the media, branding the industry as an enemy of the American people. Catherine Stancheshin reports.
Unilever, which makes brands including Marmite and PG Tips, has strongly rejected a £115 billion takeover bid from the American food giant Kraft Heinz.
Iraqi forces are preparing to launch an offensive to drive Islamic State militants out of West Mosul.
It is the last major urban area in the country that is still under the group's control. From Mosul's southern front, our Middle East correspondent Quentin Somerville reports.
Past 9.
Now, after another eventful week in US politics, President Trump is heading back to familiar territory as he prepares for a rally in Florida.
Yes, it's being billed as a campaign event just 29 days into Mr. Trump's presidency. Jan Halper-Hayes.
Well, we've been hearing about the extreme weather that's been hitting another part of America, California, where it's being called bombogenesis, or a weather bomb. Darren can tell us a bit more about this.
From BBC News, time for a look at the papers now. With us from the University of Liverpool, 30 moment ago, an interest in Trump, amongst other things, Brexit, that at your university, huge, yes.
Good for business, then.
Great for business.
Yeah.
It is.
Fantastic for business.
You're going to talk to us about house prices. That's one of the obsessions of this country, isn't it?
Yeah, and the story in the Times.
You. But you still take an interest in the FA Cup.
Well, yeah, the FA Cup's arguably been what was always precious. If you talk to the average football fan, they still love the FA Cup.
Yeah, but John, the other way of looking at this is big clubs, huge academies, they're hoarding all these players who don't often get a run out. And one of the criticisms about the development of the English game is that, you know, young English players don't necessarily get a chance. If they field these kind of players in the FA Cup, at least they're getting exposure, at least they're getting games.
Two stories quickly, because they're both worth. This is the pound coin here, which is yours, actually. Make sure I give it to you back afterwards. It's going to be a change, isn't it?
It's going. We're going to have a new pound coin, a 12.
I have, for the record, passed John his £1 coin
Thank
back.
you, Charlie. Thank you.
Push it that way a little bit. There we go. That's us, done. Thank you very much. Good to see you here this morning.
Pleasure.
Thanks, John.
We're on BBC One, of course, until 10 o'clock this morning when Michael Rood Jr. takes over in the Saturday kitchen. Michelle. Hello, this is Breakfast with Rachel Burden and Charlie State.
Coming up before 10, Darren will have your weather.
First, though, time 9:33 now. Summary of this morning's main stories. Theresa May is introducing a new law to combat domestic violence. And California is being hit by what could be one of its biggest storms in decades. The so-called
3 former trade secretaries have criticised plans to reform business rates for the first time in 7 years. Speaking to The Telegraph,
the American food giant Kraft Heinz. Unilever.
Michelle, I like that. I think it's more of a ring. I've got no French connection, unlike the
Michel
real Michel Roux
Michel.
Jr., of course.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure his cuisine is far more superior and
Yes.
French. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Because talking FA Cup, it's the 5th round, so it's a chance to reach the last 8. It's a big deal now. And never before have we had 2 non-league sides at this stage in the competition. Why? You were just touching on the subject. A lot of teams are resting players. Take Leeds in the last round. Take nothing away from Sutton. They deserve to beat Leeds, but Leeds rested a lot of their first-team
got a
players
lot
and
of
paid
stick
the
for that
price.
as well.
They did get a lot of stick for that as well, yeah. Booked and even sent off.
Let's take a moment now. Our last look this morning at the weather. Darren's had all details for us, and
Very much, Darren. We will try our best.
let's see, 9:52 is the time now. Scunthorpe is a town known mainly for steel, but from today it will get to experience a gold rush of sorts because golden objects are being hidden around Scunthorpe today for the public to find, and if you find them, you keep them.
Yeah, this is all part of an art project with clues actually hidden in paintings. Those paintings go on display this morning. Our entertainment correspondent Colin Patterson went to find out more.
Very
They're
pretty
beautiful.
and shiny.
Yeah.
If you want to join in the treasure hunt, the 5 paintings featuring clues will be displayed in Scunthorpe's the Visual Arts Centre from today. That's until the 29th of April, so it's across a period of time.
Now, let's talk about tipping. We've all seen restaurant receipts where a suggested service charge has been added on. That might annoy you. Do you conform to that or not? Well, it's now emerged that some cruise lines are adding as much as £90 per person to the cost of an 8-day trip.
So it appears as a compulsory service charge unless you fill out a form to opt out. So just how optional is tipping cruise ship staff when you're on board? Simon Calder's travel editor.
Tips. Does that mean that the staff are underpaid? Is it
It does save you the worry of how much to tip someone. You are free from that. It's done. It's a done deal. You don't have to think, you know, who do I give what to?
And it's
See you here this morning.
Thanks, Simon.
That's it from us today. Rachel's back here tomorrow with Christian from 6 tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Until then, have a good day. Bye-bye.